Hello, and welcome everyone to today's Association for Manufacturing Excellence webinar titled The O.C. Tanner Way. I am Darlene King, Director of Administrative Services for AME, and I will be your moderator. Today's presenter is David Siebert. David Siebert is a Vice President and Value Stream Leader at O.C. Tanner, where he has worked for 20 years. With more than 20 years of experience in Lean, Dave is an AME Awards Assessor and a Shingo Examiner. Before we start, just a couple of items. You will be in listen-only mode throughout the webinar. If you have questions during the webinar, please type them into the question area in the attendee panel and click on Submit. We will review the questions at the end of today's presentation and answer as many as we can. When you log off today, please check your email inbox. In it will be an invitation and link to fill out a short webinar survey. Please take a few minutes to complete the survey as your feedback is important to us. We will be sending a copy of the presentation and recorded link for a webinar replay to each of you next week. Now, I am pleased to introduce David Siebert, who will present the O.C. Tanner Way. Take it away, Dave.
Thank you very much. I'm excited to talk about O.C. Tanner because it truly is a great place to work. Let me start by telling you what we do here at O.C. Tanner. We have a culture building platform that inspires and celebrates great work. In the supply chain and production, we produce the awards for the celebration. Most of these are for celebrating years of service or anniversaries. We also have a very large business for celebrating business results and accomplishments. Our newest partnership is with Virgin Pulse, a wellness offering where employees are socially motivated by their peers to be healthy and active. When we say world, we do have offices around the globe. In US and Canada, England, we have multiple sites in India and Singapore and Australia. We're also able to fulfill wherever our customers reside. These are some of the pins we manufacture. Everything is done one at a time to an order. And of course, you see some of these pins are for company names you recognize, others are not. These are just some of the things we make here at O.C. Tanner. These are acrylic awards, some of our newest product that we manufacture. These are done in U-shaped cells, 4 of them. This product line is about 2 years old, 2.5 years old. It's been fun for us to learn how to make it in a U-shaped cell with the milling done just in time as part of the production cell. And of course, it's been hard for us to be competitive, but we've obtained that in our minds, and we continue to evolve this product line. They're truly beautiful products. This is some of the aluminum product and acrylic. So it's aluminum box with acrylic lid. The lid is printed on and then put onto the box. This is a custom award that we made for Dow out of aluminum, machined, and then Duranamel on the front with their logo. Of course, the part on the front is totally up to the customer to decide what they want us to put on there. The sky's the limit there. This is also another award for Dow. You can see the employee's name on the front and their logo down the right-hand corner with a light engraving. And we use a process for this called E-coat within line in a U-shaped cell, made to order also. We also cast products, and this is a little guy, Taco Bell, that we make. We also do press products, and these are done in the same cells that you saw earlier, the pins earlier. They're a larger product that we manufacture. It's been fun for us to convert some of the cells that did pins or small product to do this larger product with different base material, and it's been fun to see the team determine the best way to flow this product. This is a train car that we made for Dow, and it's fun also and beautiful. It is the picture doesn't do it justice. It is a mill product along with cast. The wheels are cast and we attach them using a system. Truly makes a beautiful product. And of course, we have products that we purchase and pick and ship. There's about 15,000 products, part numbers that our customers select from here in the U.S. and internationally. The catalog is different based on the country of origin. Our mission, I choose to read this because it's important. We help companies appreciate people who do great work, because celebrating great work inspires people to invent, to create, to discover, and when people are inspired, companies grow. That's what we try and do. We've been on our lean journey for about 26 years. And so I want to include some of the results we have obtained. You can call this "Does it work?" slide, and in my opinion, yes, it does. Some of the things we do work, and if they don't work, we evolve them till they do. So I want to share some of the results we have obtained over the past 20 years. Efficiency has improved by 400%. Floor space is reduced by 70%. We've eliminated all extremely toxic hazardous chemicals. And so we do the plating in line as part of production. Inventory turns have improved 3 times. We don't miss any banquets. And what a banquet is food and forks is the term I like to use. Employees are getting together, and it's important that we make those. Before, order size was large. The bigger the better. Small orders killed us. Now we make everything one at a time, just in time. Before, the factory layout had 28 departments spread throughout the facility, now fully functioning mini factories. And we're in the process of testing a mini factory that has only equipment required to do the process. And of course, I don't have time today to go into that, but it's evolving. Before, order production time was 26 days. Now we're down to about 20 minutes, and sometimes lower than that, depending on the order. On-time delivery was 82%. Now we're at 98% plus to our promise to our customers based on what they need. We used 6 million pieces of paper in the process of production. Now we don't use any. We use a lid system, an RFID system where it's reassigned and flows with the product one piece at a time. And you will see that if you decide to come to the AME tour that's coming up. Our greatest accomplishment has been our people. And so I want to talk a little bit about some of our systems that we've done to support. And this slide here goes back many years and includes many of the things that we have done to develop our people. I can't go through the full list, of course, and I will go through a couple of them, but I want to mention here Arbinger. And the leaders at OC Tanner were trained in Arbinger and then went and trained all of us. And basically, Arbinger is, you ask yourself the question about a person, why would any reasonable person do blank? And if you see that person as a person and ask yourself that question, you would seek to understand and treat that person in a certain way. And that's been very impactful for our culture. And we still do it today. We do refreshers, and the new hires get trained on that. Of course, they're coming into a culture that consists of that, but we treat each other a certain way, yet we still have accountability. And it's hard to explain that without you coming here and seeing that, but again, it's part of our culture. And we've done another thing with high-performing teams where we've evolved that the team member owns part of the results. So later on, I'll show you team board, and it's divided up in sections, and team members own part of the results. And of course, that's changed over time. The more we've given them, the more they've evolved themselves, and empowered them to make the changes they feel necessary, and the results have been incredible. Let me cover our strategy system. Of course, we have a corporate strategy, and this is 2018. We viewed 2019 yesterday, and we have a meeting in a couple of weeks where all the employees will be trained on our 19 focus. And so I'm gonna talk about what we do as a supply chain to align to the corporate strategy that guides us. And of course, we start with principles. And this is a picture of our strategy deployment board where we post what's important and what metrics we're tracking. And of course, we start with principles because, as we all know, the principles should guide us, and they do guide us on what we do and should do as we share where the company is headed. And there are systems that support these principles. And the systems I refer to are the way we do things, the standard way that align to the principles. And then if you continue down the board above that, of course, you see the strategy map for 2018, soon to be 2019. And beneath that, you see the metrics that are important to us. And they are red and green based on our performance. So we measure ourselves to the goals. The top two lines of that chart represent corporate and where we're at, and the bottom section of that represents the where we're at and what we're doing and the project we have chosen and how we're doing on those projects. And this changes every 6 months, the bottom section, as we select or adjust the targets that we're going for. And the photos next to that, of course, is the teams that are going to accomplish the work in the next 6 months. Next to that, we have a list of the projects that the teams are driving. Again, the photo of the teams, and these are their projects next to them that they're driving. And we post that at the end of 6 months in a summary form, saying whether we achieved the goal, what we achieved, and so forth. Next to that, we have True North. And I'll go into that a little bit more as we proceed on the webinar. And then the last section we have is the results that are important to us. Earlier on, I spoke of red and green, and those are the strategy focus. And these on the right here are to keep our finger on the pulse so we can see where we're at and possibly what we need to do if something needs attention and gets out of control. So of course we monitor that, as I'm sure you do. Let's talk for a minute about True North, or the direction. Of course, this is on our strategy wall, as I just spoke about. And it's important that our teams understand and know what decisions to make. And if they're making the decisions, if they have a question, they can come to this board and look at the True North and decide what the best decision is. If we talk about that, zero injury analysis. Our goal is zero. Nobody wins when somebody gets hurt. The next one is 100% value add. Of what we do, we should add value. And that's defined to us as something the customer will pay for. Anything else is waste. 100% quality. Of course, that's not obtainable, but that's the goal. On-time delivery, 100% on-time delivery. Many years ago, we focused on banquets, and we missed a banquet at least once a week, sometimes every day during the week. And getting that to zero was almost impossible. Our record now is 52 weeks, basically a year. And so that's an area of focus that we have done over the last several years and reduced it to the point that it's not an issue now. But we started where we weren't sure. And the goal is 100%. Delight clients. This one is tough because some of the awards I showed early on are tough to make, and it hurts the team's metrics as they make them. But it needs to be relevant and creative. And so we have to find that balance to delight the customers 100%. And we should be capable, system, processes, people, and equipment. And if we have a gap, we identify that and go after it. And at the top of the True North statement is impact every life for good. That includes our employees and those we serve. We truly are in a noble business of recognizing people. So we have the True North, and the next step is free-flowing information, preparing for the offsite. So this is maybe the nuts and bolts of our strategy deployment, the things that we do to share information, and of course to have the True North they're looking at as they make decisions. So we have a meeting, an all-day meeting of leadership where we prepare for the offsite. And in this meeting, we determine what the offsite consists of, what to share, what speakers we should have, and so forth. And then we have the offsite. And the offsite is to update them on where we are at as a company. So as part of the offsite, sales comes and talks about some of their challenges. Marketing comes, HR comes, finance comes, and they share with us some of their worries. What keeps them up at night? What can we do to help? So the offsite consists of all of the leadership. So we have a structure where a group leader, along with multiple team leaders, 2 or 3, are responsible for production in an area. And the group leader is at the offsite, and they hear where the company is and also the concerns or worries that different areas may have. So we have the offsite, and we come back from the offsite, and the leader, the group leader, with their team leader, shares with their teams what they heard at the offsite, what's relevant. And they spend 2 weeks planning what they can do to support what they heard, both where we're focused, where the company's focused, and what they can do to affect those numbers. And we spend 2 weeks where they have meetings during the 2-week period. They plan together and create what they think will align. At the end of the 2 weeks, we have a pre-meeting where the leader, the group leader and the team leader of each area comes in and says what they're going to focus on. We have a standard format, and you'll see that later, where they come in and talk about lead and lag metrics. And early on, when we started this process, we had lots of discussion as we drove towards alignment. Now it's very little. And we started, teams go away and come back, and now that doesn't happen. I think we've evolved to the point that they understand and know how to align to the corporate strategy and what effects they can have on it. So after that meeting, each group gets in front of their peers in an auditorium and commits to what they will do. So during the next 5 months, we will do the following, and I'll show you some of those. And I think this meeting is powerful because they're committing to their peers what they're going to do. And the accountability is self-imposed versus leadership imposed. They decide, they own, and they drive. During the 5 months, we visit the team at least 3 times. And during the week, we have Tuesdays, Wednesday nights, and Thursdays that we dedicate an hour and we go visit teams. And each team gets a visit at least 3 times during the 6-week period, every 6 weeks. So if everything works right, they would get three visits during the 6-month period. And these meetings, we start out the meeting talking about corporate information. along with supply chain specific goals, and of course, safety. So we update them on the corporation, any updates that we have. We have a poster board that we take with us, and it's filled out, and we fill it out throughout the year and update it so that they're up to date on the information where the company is. They then share their goals and where they're at and what they've done during the period. This is an example of the team board, and you can see the arrow there pointing to their strategy deployment. And last night we had a visit to a team, and this is from last night's visit, so it's the current strategy period, which ends in February. Up the top there you see target condition, why, how does it tie to corporate strategy, and their lead and lag metrics. And what I would say is that a lead is what they control or can do that they believe will move the lag. So in this case, they're going to focus on delivery. They believe that delivery time reduction will reduce the impact to the customer and will reduce their costs. So you can see on the right side in the middle there, team delivery. In 2016, they were there. 2017, they were at 265, looks like. And now they're about 50. So they're continuing to work on that, and their work is their lead metric, and they're accomplishing their lead, except for October they did not. So we visit them and talk through this chart, which they did last night, and some of the team members participate. And across the bottom we have other metrics that are important to us, such as safety catches, improvements, and so forth. And they report on how they're doing as a team on these metrics. So that's an example of the standard format that all the teams use that are, as I spoke about here, they're on the team board. You can see them posted, and they update them, and then we visit them and we talk through the corporation, and they talk through where they're at. At the end of the period, strategy period, leaders get in front of the group and say how they did. So they hold each other accountable. Did we accomplish the goal that we had set? Example is here, and at the end of the period, they'll stand up and say, did we do it or not? And this meeting consists of leadership. And so Anna is team leader, Anna is a group leader, and team leader is Sharon. Next to them is Jason. And those three own strategy deployment for a set of teams, and they're reporting on how they did. And then as leadership team, we listen to all these, and then the next day or that week, following that week, most likely on Fridays, we go around the building and celebrate the results that the teams obtained. And when we started this, they were single digit. In other words, this team here reduced delivery time. Now, their goal is 30% reduction. Incredible. And how that happened is we had a discussion with a great company here in Utah, and one of their leaders talked about double-digit growth. And so we were a little wimpy, and we had that discussion in one of these meetings, and the next time all the teams came with double-digit, and they hit it. It's been great to watch. So once the team reports out on how they did, we start all over again. We start with the Moochies meeting and the offsite and the discussion, and then the goal setting, and they tell their peers what they're going to accomplish, and we go through again. So we spoke about True North that guides us, and the information they receive, and the visits cause transparency. We look at the standard format, shows where they're at versus where they should be, and what they should accomplish. Now, the one we looked at earlier was 30% in reduction. Are they going to accomplish that? We sure try, and most of the time we do, but sometimes we don't. And it's more important that I push on the lead. If you didn't accomplish your lead, it's really not acceptable. Your lag is a result. It's the oh crap metric that we look at after we're done. And I expect them to accomplish the lead, and the lag will follow, we believe. So we spend time in that meeting discussing those and making sure they're right. And sometimes we get it wrong, which is okay. Now I want to cover the coaching system. It's one of the ways that we take care of the people. So earlier on the slide, I displayed what we have done. This coaching is one of the things we have done. And I want to start with our strategy map. And I want to read it because I think it's important. We appreciate people who are bigger, who we believe we're bigger than we are apart, who work shoulder to shoulder even when they don't see eye to eye, who have great ideas, ingenious solutions, and a collaborative spirit, who understand what clients really need is a good listening to, who watch out, speak up, and work safely, who keep their promises, learn lessons, laugh, spread joy, and create a sense of family, who do the right thing because it's the right thing to do, who realize that ultimately we are in the most important business of all, the business of valuing others. So that's what we believe here at OC Tanner. And the coaching system that we has evolved is based on these principles. This is a picture of some coaching that's happening. Deanne is being coached by Shane, who's her leader, and Landon is in there also because he's the training leader. So Deanne is a team member who is a trainer also. So they team coach her one-on-one every month. So we 20 years ago when we introduced this topic of coaching, and each person would get coached 30 minutes each time per month by their leader. There was lots of concerns. That's a lot of time. How do we do that? What does it mean? And what we have found is that if you have a scheduled time, the person may hold the information, not the information, but hold their concerns so they can talk to you. And so actually what we found is it reduced the time we spent on issues and problems. And problems started to go away as we coach and develop people to solve their own problems. And let me help you. It really has paid off for us. This is another picture of Richard coaching Debbie, who makes cookies that are very good, by the way. And so we've created a form, a coaching form, evaluation form, and you can see it here. The expectations are listed in summary below, along with the link. So if you notice alignment to strategy, which happens in March and September. So this is a form we use, and you have 2 of these per year, and you talk about alignment to strategy deployment in March and September. And then April, October, you talk about development plan. And if you notice on the form, we have meets and falls short. What we found is that using those 2 terms is better than a numbering system. And the reason is, if you have a high performer and they feel they should be a 5, you sit there and argue about that. The reality is they're meeting expectations or they're not. And if they are, where do we want to focus on? So we decided, we landed on meets and falls short. Let's see. This is one of our systems, is our coaching system, and this example of one of the systems that a team member owns and is driving. Originally, it was owned by leadership, and the team said it's not working for us. And they've evolved it and included the links and so forth and different material in the links. So when you're sitting in front of an individual, you click on the link, it brings up other information and videos and so forth, and you go through those as part of the coaching. And then every 6 months, we save it and turn it into HR. It becomes part of their record, as it were. OC Tanner offers a system, or is going to be offering in the future, a system that helps you do this. It's called Align. And our coaching system also consists of in-the-line coaching. So Cheryl Ann, I'm not sure if she's coaching there, Diego's on the left, is the person following standard work. Is the person capable of doing so? So in addition to the sit-down coaching, which I just went through in the form, you have on-the-line coaching that happens frequently, at least twice monthly, 20 to 30 minutes per person. And Cheryl Ann, who's the team leader, is doing that. The group leader does the coaching with the team leader's input. So they do it in many different ways, but one of the ways is the group leader does the coaching and the team leader comes in for a little bit of time and then leaves. So they both are developing the person to be capable and following standard work. It also includes time where the individual team leader actually does the process and knows the process and sees the process happening. And this gives them the chance to see abnormalities in real time happening and or work them. And step in, solve problems for the team members. And as I mentioned, this happens at least twice monthly, where the team leader spends time with a team member. We have a schedule they follow, and they do that. Developing team members. This is what we think we should be doing with team members. Living the culture. Basic expectations that we have here. I expect the individual to want to learn, whether it be job skills or 5S or 8 ways. They want to learn and provide opportunities to them that they can learn, and they thirst for the opportunities. And they lead their self. And they have the get it done attitude. They're effective, and they help others by shaping the vision, thinking outside the box, ways we approach things. And the last one is leading others or influencing. So as a team member becomes efficient and they influence others to be the same. We use the word, and many years ago we did some training called day maker. Am I happy you came by, or am I sad? And we want our team members to be day makers, to be helping each other, to be a good coach. It's not just us that should be telling them what to do or the best way to do things, but they should rely on their team members and help each other develop and work on the best solution. Contribution review. So twice a year, we do hourly raises. And that's one of the questions I have for you all, is what you do for raises. The leaders and individuals get together and discuss people's performance. And this is a model that we, with input from another company called Gore, have evolved to serve our needs. The basic expectations are do things right. Quality, quantity, imperative, intuitive, open-minded, and flexible. And doing things right. They brought our judgment, brought our view, creative problem solver, influencing. And you saw some of this on the last slide that we went through, where individuals have the opportunity to become better. And so every 6 months, we use this sheet as we do raises, separate from the coaching system. Of course, you have, as a leader, you have ideas where they're going to be, but in order to get the information, you need to change your thinking, and so we do it separate from coaching. Improvement system. I don't have time to go into detail. It's important as part of what people do, they have the opportunity to improve. So we've done what's called an improvement card. And the simplest way that I would describe this is fix what bugs you. If something isn't working right, fix it. And this system, improvement system, allows them to do it. And you see on the card down at the bottom, see, think, experiment, prove, sustain. This is our scientific method that we follow to make improvements, similar to PDCA or other systems, quality systems that you see out there. What we want them to do is think about a solution and experiment with it and try it. So we want them to be scientific. And that's the focus of this year in one of our meetings with employees. Every month we have a meeting with them, and improvement card system, scientific thinking is the focus of this year. We've done 5S and 8 ways and so forth in previous years. And this year we chose to be more scientific about the improvements we make. And the back of the card is a 2-part system. It's stuck together, is the cost savings form. And this form is important because we measure cost savings. Now, we work with accounting to come up with the numbers. Are they right? I'm not sure. Ultimately, it comes out in budget reduction, but we do track cost savings. And down at the bottom of the form, you see the waste that they took out of the system. So you see how they tie together in what we do. And that was a quick discussion about improvement systems. It's much more complicated than that. But the theory is you need to provide a way for team members to improve and capture that, which we do here. And the Gemba assessment system is also another system that we use here at OC Tanner. Each leader gets an email every week, Monday mornings at 5 a.m., comes into my inbox and tells me which team to go to, which system I'm going to audit, and what part of the subsystem is a part of. And you can click on the link there and it'll show you exactly the audit to be performed. And then you enter the audit in the system, whether you pass or fail, with notes. And when we started this, it wasn't electronic, and I would encourage that this is 2.5 years old, 3 years old, and we started with a manual system. I would encourage you to do the same till you figure it out, and then use a system. The second one is a coaching one. So as leaders, we go around and ask how coaching is going. So we meet with the individuals that are being coached and the coach to see that it's effective. That's a brief description of our Gemba assessment system. One of the sign of the lean company is the way we hire. So hopefully you have a systematic way of hiring. Ours is as follows. We have an in-house interview, and we take the team member on a tour, or potential team member on a tour of the teams and the facility. We also do a simulation, and this simulation, we call it stickle bricks. It used to be a pen simulation where we assembled pens, and of course it's riddled with problems and issues and things that they need to fix. And we give them that opportunity. So we run it 4 to 5 times, and there's a group of individuals that are sitting there watching. We want to see what you do as an individual. Does it frustrate you? Do problems frustrate you? How do you treat your coworkers? And by the end of that, we have our mind made up on who could potentially fit at OC Tanner. And then we do a one-on-one interview and of course we use a scoring sheet through the process. And they help us find the right person to fit the culture. And the team decides. So we used to use a temp agency to do this, and now we do it internally ourselves. There is a 3-month probation period where the team decides whether they fit the OC Tanner culture. And by then we know. That's kind of a mark we make, and we can know before that, but by then we should know whether they fit the culture or not. And that's the conclusion that I had. At this time, I guess we'll take questions.
Thank you, Dave. Now it's the time to answer questions. If you have any questions you would like to have answered, please submit them into the question box in your side panel. We did have one question come in already about viewing this later as a recording, and we will be sending that out as a link next week. Dave, I actually have a question for you that was submitted. How do you celebrate results? First down or touchdowns?
So, of course, OC Tanner does that, I think, very well. We have a peer-to-peer recognition system where they can recognize each other. It's important that we, as leadership, celebrate first downs along the way to a touchdown. And how we do that is peer-to-peer and lunches that leadership does with team members. And I'm curious of others how they do it also, because that is an area where we want to make sure we're supporting as a company and also doing.
Okay, thanks, Dave. I've got another question here. Can you describe the Arbinger system?
There's a book that I would recommend called Leadership and Self-Deception by the Arbinger Institute. They're located, ironically, here in Utah, and they do training that will change your culture. To me, the biggest thing is, why would any reasonable person do blank? And if you take a minute or a breath and ask yourself that question, you're seeing the person as a person, and the situation as a person in the situation, and what can you do to help? I would recommend that the person with a question contact them. They do have a book called Leadership and Self-Deception. I'd start with that also.
Okay, great. I've got another question, Dave. What is your company retention rate and tenure, and how has that improved over time?
OC Tanner is a great place to work. Our tenure is about 15 years. Our regrettable turnover is less than 1%. So when employees come here and get hired on and go through the process that I described, they stay, which is luckily they do. It's also good to introduce some new ideas every once in a while.
Okay, great. I've got another question. How do you coach today? Good performance versus bad?
Of course, I showed you the form, and if an individual doesn't meet, we do what's called an improvement plan, and that's a plan for them to move towards meeting the expectation. And the plan includes time and goals and support. So we give them a chance to fix the problem. Of course, discussion of it, transparency as you discuss it is important. Most of us want to do the right thing, and we need to help as leaders. And if they're doing great things, celebrate that. Your coaching should be a time of celebration, along with in front of the team. The peer-to-peer, the recognition system that I spoke of allows us to recognize individuals for outstanding performance or results. And so we use that system to recognize them in front of their peers, both to curb their behavior along with others. So if I'm getting recognized for doing something great, somebody else is standing there, oh man, maybe I should do that. So we use that system for examples, I guess, is the best way to say it.
Okay, great. So we've got a little bit of time left. If there are any other questions, please submit them now. I also just want to remind everybody that we do have a regional event coming up at OC Tanner, February 26th and 27th. And that workshop is called A Lean Transformation That Never Stops Improving. And you can go to ame.org and click on that events tab to go ahead and register for that. Looks like we've got one more question. So I've got this. What is your, oh, no, we've got that one. Oh, I've got one more question here. Sorry. How do you accomplish development of your people?
If we go back to the form that I showed you, see here. There's a section there called development plan. And so in that, how do you want to be developed? And in my mind, you own some of that, and what can I do to help you? Or you need the following job skills so to be effective. So development plan is how we improve. And I think it's a major part of our coaching system, because the reality is most people meet expectations. Development plan is the next step of where do we want to focus? What do we want to get better at or improve? I hope that answered the question.
Okay. I think that's it. So thank you, Dave, for your insightful presentation. Just a reminder, we will be sending a recorded link with a webinar replay to each of you next week, as well as a copy of this presentation. This brings our webinar to a close. Please don't forget to fill out the short survey that will be in your inbox. Thank you, Dave, and thank you, everyone, for attending.